Solve the equation x squared equals 3 minus 2x by completing the square. We've got some steps we need to follow for this. So step 1 says get all of the variable terms on one side and all the constants on the other. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides and giving me x squared plus 2x equals 3. Step 2 says, if needed, divide everything by a. Well, in this case, a is 1, so dividing everything by 1, not going to change anything. So we're going to move on. Step 2, done. Step 3 says, add b over 2 squared to both sides. So b in this case is 2 over 2 squared. That's 1 squared equals, well, 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides of the equation. So we get x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals, on the other side, 3 plus 1 gives us 4. Step 4 says factor. This side, the reason we added that 1 to both sides is so that our left side becomes factorable into a square binomial. So we're going to take two numbers that add to 1, or sorry, multiply to 1 but add to 2. So it's x plus 1 and x plus 1, or x plus 1 squared equals 4. Remember, that plus 1 that we ended up with here, we also saw in here. It's the same thing as b over 2. Step 5 says take the square root of both sides. So when I take, I'm going to put this off to the side here. When I take the square root of both sides, the square root of x plus 1 squared equals the square root of 4. X plus 1 squared, take the square root, we're just left with x plus 1. When I take the square root of 4, I end up with plus or minus 2. That one ended up being a nice number. Clean this up. Step 6 says, or get x all by itself by just, in this case, we're just subtracting. Now, be careful here. We do need to subtract 1 from both sides, but what you should do is, since on the other side we have plus or minus 2, that means x plus 1 equals 2, or x plus 1 equals negative 2. I would strongly encourage you to separate them. Otherwise, I'll see a lot of x equals plus or minus 1, which would not be correct. Be half right. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides here. I get x equals 1. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides over here. I get x equals negative 3. So our two solutions are x equals 1 and x equals negative 3.